We are on part 4. We're moving along. So we're at the point where Rod has said I've reached my plateau. Mom is getting frustrated at me, and I feel like I'm stuck in the between a rock and a hard place. I don't really know what that means, but I feel like that fits really well right there, fit in between a rock and a hard place. Maybe it's because you can't move. Anyways, so everything is just getting more frustrated. I just feel like I really can't do anything because I'm trying to talk to Rod, and there's nothing else I can tell my mom at this point. So pressure is starting to get a lot more elevated for me, and I'm going to the gym, and he's pulling Danielle aside and working on stuff with her, and I'm just standing around not sure what to do since I'm not allowed to work on anything new. Practices were getting confusing to me. And then he started to treat my sister and I a little bit differently. Now, coaches, I understand we want our athletes to be there on time. We need them. I get it. I'm a coach. I really dislike when my athletes are late. But take it out on the right people. Okay? Don't take it out on the child. And I see this happening too often. The gyms that I've coached at, and head coaches going crazy and blasting kids. Hello? We're not the ones driving. Can you please have some motherfucking common sense? When I was told to come out of school at 3:45, I was out waiting at the wood bench at 3:45. It's not like I was hanging around with friends and then decided to come out at 4:10 to be late for gymnastics. I think there's this concept that humans and adults just cannot correlate sometimes. And that's really frustrating. So don't get me wrong, we were late for gymnastics very often. In fact, it was embarrassing. I don't know what my mom was always doing, but she was always doing something. We were always late for gymnastics. And Rod would see that. And so then he came up with this thing where if you were late, you weren't allowed to practice with the group. Whenever my sister and I would come late to the gym, we would not be allowed to train with the group. We would have to go onto a completely another floor, into a completely different strip, and do our warm-up by ourselves over there, and then come back in at some point in time. The thing about this is that no other athletes had to do that. It was just us. Outsiders. I don't know. It was an awful feeling, and I don't know why he kept taking it out on us when, quite frankly, he should have just went to my mother and said, "Hey, you know what, Laverne? It's tough. It's tough when they're late. Can we work something out?" It really didn't like how he would pull us out. "Monique and Brittnee, get off the floor! And just the way that he would do it, oh my gosh, we're already embarrassed that we're late, but to go call us out like that. So I remember warming up on the strip and not being allowed to be a part of the group very often. And there's something else that really, really sticks out at East York Gymnastics Club that Rod did that was just absolutely and utterly unheard of. But again, it's being black in Canada, and people think that there's no racism because they do it behind closed doors. So as he was certain that I was not allowed to do any more higher level gymnastics, my mother started her research, the gym mom. And the next gym that she researched was Gemini Gymnastics. And this was, there was East York, but now there was Gemini. Every gyms have such amazing qualities and things. East York at that time, provincial level athletes, amazing. Trying to get to the national level, that was not their cup of tea. But Gemini was a national level gym. So my mom took me to go and try out at Gemini, and terrifying. But I did the tryout. They were thinking of their decision, and we go back to the gym to start training. We go back to East York to start training. I think we're on time today. Things are feeling good. It's a Sunday. We're on time. Things are good. And Rod pulls us aside and says, you, come with me. I'm like, oh shit, what happened now? Well, we're on time today. What happened now? and he takes us around the corner into this little office. I don't even understand. He takes us into this little office. There's like 2 wooden chairs, and he sits us down. He closes the door, and it's like literally like we were in an interrogation room. And he starts walking around, holding his chin, you know, looks at us on the chair, comes back. So did you think we wouldn't know? Did you think we wouldn't find out? Going behind our back, lying to our faces. That's what you guys do. Lying. But you didn't think we'd find out, right? Okay. I know you tried out for another gym. I know that's what you went and did. Okay? You think that you can make it in that gym? I don't know what you're thinking, but the fact of the matter is, you're not welcomed in this gym anymore. Either you make your decision. Either you stay with us or you don't. Make your decision. Until then, leave this gym, clean out your lockers, figure out what you're going to do, and then you can come back once we have a decision. Okay? Thought we wouldn't find out. So I'm sitting there and I'm crying. I don't know, like, it wasn't my choice. Like, my mom took me to go try out. I'm sitting there crying in this chair. I mean, I didn't even say that to him, but that's what I'm thinking. Like, I wasn't like, Mom, let's go try. Like, my parents were the ones that led my life. I didn't have a say. I didn't have a decision. So to sit there and go down on me like that when I'm sitting in this wooden chair in this little office around the corner that I've never seen before, and he's just yelling and he's doing this to me naked, and I'm sitting here like, I'm crying. They have to go and call my I have to pick up, crying, and then get our stuff. Is so embarrassing. All the athletes just looking at us, the 2 black girls walking out of the gym with tears because my sister had to leave too, even though she didn't try out, but she was not welcomed on the premises, so she had to leave too. So we're all walking out together. I think that we took about 2 or 3 weeks off of gymnastics, and once I was accepted, which was really, really, really exciting, my sister didn't try out, and my sister didn't even get to try out because Gemini, Oshawa is over an hour away. So if I were to go to training at 1 o'clock and then end at 6, and then my sister would have started practice at like 5, she wouldn't have had a ride or a drive, and my parents and my mother was not willing to drive, an hour back and forth for both girls. So essentially, my mother made the decision that Brittnee is going to continue gymnastics, and MJ, you're just not going to, unless you want to take the bus somewhere. And I also don't think that parents think about how much of an effect that has on their kids. Like, that weighed on me. That weighed on me for the rest of my life. That weighed on me. Everything that I did, that weighed on me. Knowing that it was my fault that my sister had to stop gymnastics because I was a little bit more talented, and I was, the chosen one, that I was the one that was allowed to continue gymnastics, and she had to just stop when she loved it, when she worked so hard, when it was like, she was one of those good athletes that would push. And just like that, I was the one, and that's how I felt. I was the one that ended her career, and we didn't even have a family talk about that. That weighed on me. That was really heavy on me. And that's another reason. That's another big, heavy reason why my love for gymnastics went down. It went down so much because I felt responsible for my sister not being able to continue. And like, what do I do? What do I say? Like, the parents didn't even talk to us about anything. It was just like, Brittnee, MJ, you're either done, whatever. Like, there was nothing. And every time I went to that sport in Gemini at Oshawa, that's all I would ever think about. And it was like, it was a lot. It was heavy. And needless to say, we did not go back to East Rock Gymnastics Club after Rod did that stuff to me. And You know, there was some great coaches there. Like Sandy was a phenomenal beam coach. The fact of the matter was, Sandy didn't do anything when Rod was in that room doing that to me. She didn't do anything. She stood there in the room like this and just watched it happen. She didn't do anything. She didn't support me. She didn't help me. Verna wasn't there because she normally works in the office. But the fact of the matter is, you can like someone, but if you're going to stand there and watch someone hurt and put down and chastise and do all these different things to a young child, to a young black girl, and not do anything, how much do you really like that young girl? Food for thought. If you watch injustices happening to someone and you don't do shit, I don't even know what to say. Just think about that. When you don't do anything, think about what it does. Think about who you are as a person. Next video, we are on our way to Oshawa.